Oh, well.
You're good.
Jason.
Yeah, you're good.
Oh, good. Yes, we're back on. Hey, obviously, I don't know if anybody saw the people that were watching. You know, the 10 of you faithful people out there that were watching the beginning of this. So, Miss Jen did pass away. We talked about her last week on the podcast, and we're heavy hearts today. I'm sorry, baby. I love you.
I love you.
And this is As The Rotor Turns. Welcome back. This is the going to be my opinion today. Some people's opinion that today, but not the opinion of the Rescue Company One.
Nope.
Not the opinion of Dr. Benjamin Abbo.
No.
It's going to be my goddamn opinion.
He's not here today. And don't do anything stupid and said that we told you to do it.
Because we didn't.
Because we did it. All your local protocols.
Oh, definitely don't do anything I tell you to do.
At an AMT meeting this week, they said that like 10 times. Follow your local protocols.
Yep.
If you're in California, by the way, don't choke there because nobody's going to be able to fucking help you. They can't do shit. You know, I'm sorry, Miss Jody. Miss Jody's over in California.
You're out of luck.
Yeah. So, welcome back. And then, obviously it's not the opinion anybody gives us at home. Not the opinion of, anybody that gives us any work. So if anything I'm going to say is going to offend you, we'll shut the shit up. Hey, baby.
Hey.
I love you. Don't
Change the
crying.
channel if it's nothing you want to hear.
I'm sorry you're crying.
No, that's all right.
I love you, though. You're very beautiful.
That was a good montage at the beginning.
Yeah. I think the hippo just threw that together in like 10 seconds.
Good stuff.
He did a good job on that.
Good stuff.
Every time we do one of these podcasts, takes 10 years from his life.
Yes.
So it's Josh, you're here today. It's going to be your opinion today.
Yep. 2 times in a row now. So
Wow.
It's starting to
We love that
become
you're
a
here,
thing.
Josh.
It's starting to become a thing.
Since I'm the only one
Oh,
that
look.
employs you, it doesn't matter what you say.
Look
Go
at that
ahead.
microphone you have.
Oh, yeah.
Nobody employs me.
That's very fancy. And then, hey, birthday buddy.
Hi.
Yeah. And you got the hippo back there. He's not even talking right now.
He's on the ones and twos.
And then we got some special guests today from Braxton College over here, Dr. Gandia. I don't know if I ever pronounced your name right.
Yeah,
That's
perfect.
Yeah.
Gandia.
Yep. And then
You got to put a little Spanish.
yeah, absolutely. Yeah, Mr. Bill McGrath back there was a hero of mine.
Hi.
Taught me everything I know. So and then you have a rotating guest here today, stuff like that. So, Doc, to tell the people where you're from, actually, and how you got to be here in EMS and everything.
Well, actually, I'm from Bronx, New York.
Yes.
Been now in Florida for about since '88. You guys nobody was probably born by then.
Oh,
I was.
yeah,
I was born that year.
Oh.
And
up.
I
I think I was 11.
I was trained in New York, and I had been down here in medical school for a little time, and I decided, listen, I'm not staying in just cold weather. I'm going back
Yeah, I'm
south.
out of here.
Actually, I was here doing the Mario boat lift. That's a student.
Oh, wow.
And all that. So that
The what?
Mario
boat
boat
lift.
lifts. Nobody knows what that is, but
I mean, it's
I still didn't understand what
that
he said.
Mario boat lift.
Mario boat lift.
Oh.
The beginning of Scarface, baby.
Yeah,
Got it.
yeah, exactly. So we were down at students, down in I-95, checking people,
Liberty City.
finding everybody with tuberculosis and so forth, and we moved on. But anyway, long story short, I then came to Florida and started working in South Florida at the trauma center, actually at Memorial Regional in Hollywood, and the rest is history. About 2 years after that, I was approached by a couple of my medics. Was I interested at all in doing some EMS stuff? And really, that's when it really started, about probably 1990 or so.
That's awesome.
And it's been downhill since.
Nonstop.
So it's been, listen, I say that really my best friends, my buddies, my adopted sons, all my firefighters. My son's a firefighter who I'm very proud of. He was first a marine biologist.
Oh, wow. What a change.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. He
I
went
wanted
here,
to do that.
Actually, he went here to UCF. He was doing some great stuff. Graduated. Was doing. Actually, he was one of the first to do the engineering the corals in the lab and then putting them down. And then then all his professors say, hey, you're going to be starving. You can't,
There ain't no money in this.
Yeah, everybody wants to do it.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
there's no
And that's
money.
why I didn't do it.
You're right. You're going to be fighting for grant, and no one really cares, etc. And So, obviously, since he was a little boy, he was involved with me in the EMS, and now he's a firefighter.
That's
Very proud of him.
awesome.
Yeah, my mom worked. She was St. Barnabas as a nurse in New York for ungodly amount of years.
Yeah,
So we
there in
moved.
the Bronx. Yeah.
Yeah, so we moved here to Florida. We moved up to Corona when I was baby. So we used to be in the Bronx, and then moved up to Queens, which I don't know is any better, but used to Yankees fan, I'm guessing.
Yeah. I used to watch the Yankees from the
Your backyard.
No, well, no, actually, I watched the
Your
Yankees
rooftop.
from the train station.
Ah.
Oh wow.
Because of Jerome Space Station,
Yeah.
you can watch the Yankees.
Yeah.
You can get on the train station for 25 cents or whatever.
Yeah.
And then the other times we try to sneak in.
We'll see. Yeah.
But actually, I got to tell you a funny story. Back then, I used to play a lot of baseball, and there was a park right next to Yankee Stadium. And back then, there were 2 or 3 of the Yankees that would finish up their day, and then would come and start throwing the ball around with us.
Oh, wow.
That's
And that.
crazy.
That's
There was,
awesome.
there was no YouTube or anything.
Yeah.
I mean, they would
You
hang
don't
out
have
with,
it documented.
No, exactly.
Not on
no
social
one would
media.
believe me. No one would believe, but it was great. They just came across and
Yeah.
just started playing with us and hanging out, which was really cool.
Man, it's I love that city, but I could stay in about 2 hours. And then and then I'm ready to come back.
100%. Like I said, when I go back, it's for a day or two, and then
I'm
back
out.
home.
I'm out. Eat some pizza, get a bagel, and I'm
Yeah.
gone. Yeah.
It's
So
gone.
then,
No, it's
actually, Bill McGrath was my chief, my friend, my partner in all our crazy endeavors. We started with education. Started with some schools back in the early 90s. We really ran 6 of them around the state.
Yeah.
Subsequently to that, we kind of stopped that for a little while, and then started
What was that?
That's me.
starting to do some.
Bring your volume down.
Sorry about that, Doc.
No. Started to do some consulting and so forth, and then, we're actually by the Keys. Would you guys come down? Because we have no education here. Can you guys come down?
Absolutely.
And help
we
us
would
out here.
love to come to the Keys.
So actually, so we've been there now 10 years.
We'll stay 10 years.
Yeah, we've been down there now 10 years.
Dog, you get, and I know Bill who will come up here for in a bit. Like, it is amazing. Not blowing smoke up you guys' ass or anything like that. The amount of quality that has come out of the programs you guys have done is unbelievable. Even back that, I'm gonna say a dirty word, the FMTI days, to now, those FMTI South Florida people were just different than anywhere else in the state. And getting my ass kicked by FMTI people for all these years. It was amazing.
And now you're part of us.
Yeah.
Now you are.
Yeah. I feel like Johnny Damon playing a bad team for a lot of years. Then I got drafted, got to go play. It plays good. But it's we would always watch, and we would sit in these sequesterings and these competitions, and people were going through the stuff in the book, and the things that we just never I would sit there and I go, Felix, but we ain't even paying attention to any of this stuff. Look at what the shit these guys are talking about. This is what they use for pregnant women. This is what they use for this. This is what the book says. And Bill will be up here in a bit. And I know that Bill, he's very boisterous about the level of education that a paramedic should get and the stuff. And it doesn't get taught. It's not as sexy if you teach it exactly how you're supposed to teach it, but that's exactly what you guys do.
Right. Well, the first thing is you got to stick to the basics, right?
Yes,
you can't. You got to do the basic ABCs of teaching, treatment, etc. And I think, as you mentioned, I think the competition really became an educational component for us. Because we started actually. I was one of the founders of the Broward Invitational, who now is the First Air, First Care conference 25 years ago. This year we had over 500
conference.
people in the Hard Rock, and we started that actually at the parking lot of University Hospital.
Yeah, I remember saying that this year.
And that came about because the only sort of game in town was ClinCon, and people will practice, and then they come up here for a day, and kind of that was it. And what we noticed was that people were practicing together, North Lauderdale, Sunrise, Miramar. All says, hey, let's come to our station and let's practice.
I know.
We say, you know what? Why don't we just do something here? For our local crews. And our first year was 25 years ago, we had 8 teams,
awesome.
and then from there it's grown
been
tremendously,
crazy.
to an
Yeah.
incredible conference now.
Yeah.
And so really the bottom line of that is that really these competitions really become educational stuff. Because
Absolutely.
guys
Yeah.
study, they bring it to the, we use other firefighters as patients, as whatever. So really the whole house really learns,
Yes, sir.
why they
Yeah,
do
it's
that.
it's
I
about being
learn
better.
something every time I watch.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's about being better.
Yeah.
About it. And it's
And camaraderie, it's been amazing, because the competitions is fierce. Everyone really pulls for each other. Man, those
Yeah.
guys look great.
Mhm.
Oh, damn, I missed that. And, that
Yeah.
that got it. But,
Yeah.
so that's been wonderful for all those many years.
yeah, it really is a different caliber of people, and it's the funniest thing I have is that Florida teams, and I want to say this: South Florida teams go
South Florida, yeah.
go
Oh, yeah.
other places in the United States, do other competitions, and then they go, don't bring more than one team anymore.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Like first,
Florida
second,
team a lot.
third
Oh, yeah.
place. It's like,
I got to tell you a quick story. There's a competition in Prague.
Oh.
The rally.
yeah, 24
Can I go to
hours.
that one?
Yeah, it's a
24-hour.
24-hour one. And the wonderful thing for me was that they have a division where you have physicians and you can have, a couple of medics. You need at least one medic. So many teams actually had, 2 physicians and a medic, and from all over the world.
Mhm.
Japan they were the funniest, the biggest partiers ever. The
Oh,
ones from Japan, they had people from Greece and all that. And, to me, it was such an honor to be part of that team because I, with kind of doing the competition and all that, never were involved in the
Yeah,
kind of
yeah,
the
you get to
nitty gritty,
compete.
right?
You get to
Yeah,
compete now.
I got to compete then, with, of course, with Chief McGrath and Kelly Burns and Tony Chin. And we went out there and I want to say we won by 700 points. But
Wow.
that's all right.
Great job.
Yeah.
But it was a wonderful experience. They had like 106 teams from all over the world.
Wow.
People will fly.
I can't
people will
imagine
drive.
judging that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's one I wanted to
Yeah,
go
and
to.
it
That's
was-
what we talked about.
Yeah, 24 hours. It was wonderful, and the camaraderie was tremendous. There, as anywhere, the biggest thing was, we went back. You can go out at 2:00 in the morning, 3:00 in the morning, and the biggest thing was exchanging shirts, of course, right?
Yeah.
Everybody, we went that's Team USA, so everybody, of course, wanted that stuff, which was wonderful.
Man, I tell you,
That's awesome.
it is cool to see the doctors that are involved in this stuff, and like you're one that we see consistently everywhere we go. You are the only thing, but I forget where we were, but it was probably a thing during Fire East where they actually just thought you were one of the medic instructors. You were just a doctor right there, so it is cool that you the community and you're there. You're not just a medical director and just a name. You're
Right. Like I said,
somebody that-
truthfully, my closest friends and colleagues and all, my firefighters, I hate to say, and one of the things that I say in the ER is, listen, doctors are tough on each other. We eat out young, right?
Yeah.
And really, one of my best line is, what? These guys are so together. There is that day that their life may depend on the guy next door.
Yeah, absolutely.
And we really don't have that in sort of general medicine in a sense, right? So
Yes, sir.
that's where I feel, and that's where I'm most comfortable in.
We got a bunch coming in.
Oh yeah.
We got Joseph Blackwelder that says, "Woo!"
Woo!
Yeah, that's what he. Ryan Galick. Ryan Galick.
Hi, Ryan.
So Ryan today.
Yep.
Great to meet you
I
today.
got Freddie Batista that says, "Hey Doc,
Yeah.
yours."
Fred, Freddie's one of our young guys who now runs our IT program. Believe it or
Yeah.
not, he didn't know what a computer was in FMTI days. And now
Yeah.
he does all our stuff. It's wonderful, and that's the other thing too, that we've been so fortunate that for so many years, so many people want to say, hey, what are you guys doing? Let us be part of it, etc. And that to me
Yeah.
is really an honor.
Freddie wants you to say his name.
Batista.
Batista. I think it'd be a great show one day, and I'm pretty sure we'll do somebody will sue us for it, but who cares? I own it. I own 2 English bulldogs. That's what people can have. If they sue
No,
me.
they can't.
I got a pity. I got
Yeah.
a little pity.
So but I would love to do where are they now FMTI days.
Yes. Actually,
We could probably
I'll
have to go
let
to a
Bill
couple
talk
federal
about that.
prisons.
I think about I think it's probably about 10 years ago we tried to do a
Man.
a kind of reunion of a lot of the guys. It was
Oh.
quite interesting.
Yeah.
How about a Kelly Brine? You know her?
Ooh.
Yeah.
Kelly Byrne.
Yeah,
Kelly
Kelly
Byrne.
Byrne.
That's
Yeah.
Kelly, man.
That's Kelly.
Sorry.
That's-
my
There's
bad.
a competition team lead
BYR. Yeah.
right there. Soon to be a Florida Cup winner.
Somebody
Yeah, hopefully.
want her. Oh, that Kelly. Okay.
Yeah. So
It always you guys fucks me up with that because somebody read what he says.
we
Go.
do have a little bit of news there, birthday buddy, that you want to play there.
Anybody want to read what?
Well, you want me to read the comment?
Oh yeah, go ahead.
Papa, the level of education has grown exponentially since back in the days. The new teams are bringing it. You have to step up as a team and really care to bring it.
I will say this about Kelly.
He's still in there.
Oh man, we said there during the first. Which one we were? We're in Miami, so we're at the.
First.
Boaz,
The one right before it.
Boaz.
So
Sorry, yeah.
we're at Boaz, and Kelly sat there for like hours reading a paramedic book, and then just about every time somebody does that, and Josh's brother would do that. During thing. He would read the book.
All the
Some-
time.
Something that somebody reads out loud becomes something you need during the competition, and Kelly seems to do that every time. So like every time he's reading, I'm sitting there listening to what he's saying. But Kelly's
Brilliant guy.
like a 30-year
Yeah,
veteran
absolutely.
dude that
And
is
he still has
out
that
there
passion.
and competes harder and wants it worse than any new guy that's out there.
100%.
He stresses
100%.
me out just watching him.
And here's the thing, man. I walk by this Klinkon trophy all the time. Every day I go into the office that we work at, where it sits there, and it's like he's had his name on that like so many times.
Right.
Who, Kelly?
Right.
Yeah, he's the Wayne Gretzky of this shit.
Yeah. Listen,
And-
next time you see that trophy, you see there's a 5 years that I had teams win it 5 years in a row.
Oh yes, sir.
Wow.
Martin, North Lauderdale, FMTI.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, for 5 years in a row, we won.
I'm
That's
telling you, I
awesome.
watched you kick my ass for those 5 years. So I know.
It was tough in the beginning.
Yeah, and it's a legacy that you guys have on that thing. It's just the things that Kelly's that guy.
Yeah.
And
Kelly says he reads, but he still loses, but he loves it.
Well,
Exactly.
hey, listen, it's it's a rebuilding year.
But
Yeah.
but the truth is,
Every year it's like a Dolphins year.
it shows you that it's all about learning and
Yeah.
educating and going forward and learning new things. And then Kelly's a perfect example of that. I mean, he just continues pushing that envelope.
But if you hurt in the city of Miramar and you look up and you see that guy, that's the guy you want.
100%.
That guy wants it. That guy wants it bad. You know what I'm saying? Buddy, what you got in the news there?
Well, first we have some classes still
Yes.
coming up.
We should talk some business, huh? Yeah.
We should.
maybe should. We completely skipped it last week.
Oh, sorry.
Oh,
You know
that's
why?
no
We don't
good.
have a paper to look at.
I know.
We don't know what we're doing.
Because I don't have time for anything.
Yeah.
Oh, I don't even have my camera on.
By the way, Doc,
Can't
you're
see.
married.
Yeah.
So if you don't know that yet.
I also want to say that Rob says hello, and I am still missing a car.
Oh, yes.
Oh,
Still stolen.
That guy's the worst.
well,
Oh.
it says he's in Fort Myers.
He is in Fort
So,
Myers. He is
Not that he
helping
would
out-
have found it.
He is helping out those citizens,
All right,
but
baby, get to the class.
we still are missing a vehicle.
Okay, so we do have air medical coming up. We will be in Claremont starting on October 30th. It's
Sure
not
will.
too late. We'll give you some extra time to work on the pre-course work if you need it.
Yes.
But you can still come to class. Be a new location for us. We actually saw Captain Sacco yesterday. He's super excited to have us.
Oh, that's awesome.
And then, there's a good people there. Them fire
Yeah.
chiefs and
Hi,
everything.
Sean.
Let us
Yeah.
have their stuff out there.
He's very excited. Can't wait for us. to
He's
do that.
awesome.
Absolutely.
And then after that, December, we are having Water Rescue Week, December 5th through the 9th. And then INDOC we will have on December the 10th.
There's some questions about this water rescue stuff. So, like, reality is that it's like 4 classes in one. So, like, the first couple of days is your surface water stuff and some surf stuff. The next few days is going to be your swift water and all that stuff. So,
I've had a couple of people
And
call.
flood.
I've had a
Yeah.
couple people call in. They want to know if they can do that portion online.
No,
swimming?
Yeah, the swimming.
Yeah.
swimming
Okay.
is done
that
live.
is
Okay.
actually
You
in
may
person.
not
Yes.
swim online.
Yes.
Swimmer
Yeah,
1 and 2
Yes.
is,
That
is not an
I tell you,
online
man,
I
course.
just want
That
to
is in
clarify.
person.
I
The
just want
world
to make
of
sure.
millennials, it kills me.
It kills me every
You
day.
cannot Uber Eats your fucking rescue.
Nothing surprises
Yeah,
me.
sorry.
Yeah.
Or
I don't know.
Or swimming.
You cannot
Yeah.
Uber Eats a paramedic degree
Yeah, yes, absolutely, man. It's just craziness.
certificate.
Yeah, go ahead, buddy.
Then kicking off the new year, we have air medical in another new facility, St. Augustine,
Woo!
January 23rd through the 28th. 8th.
We are
Man,
very excited about that.
it's the
Yes.
oldest city.
Great town.
It is. And
Yes, sir.
there's a moat, and
Right. I
it
feel
was
like
recently actually filled
I
with
feel
water.
like they were
Yes.
underwater recently.
They were. There
Yes.
was water in the moat.
Yeah.
I think the water will be gone by the time we get there.
It will be.
Hopefully.
I'm gonna
Yep.
be so
Nobody
sad.
was
There are
storming
going to be snakes there.
the castle.
I hear.
And Doc, you welcome to come down there. If you guys welcome to come down there to St.
But maybe they
Augustine in
weren't.
January.
Well, because Jason will be
St.
there.
Augustine,
Yeah.
yeah, beautiful.
Yeah, it's a great town.
We don't.
Great
We don't
town.
love snakes.
What else
And
you got, buddy?
I got to invite you.
Oh, sorry.
Go ahead,
go ahead.
I got to invite you to Key West. Because
Yes.
I just became the medical
We're
director.
ready.
Actually,
You
We're
know,
ready to go.
I mean, I don't think
So
I don't think you
guys
had
gotta
you
come
don't
down.
you
Tomorrow?
don't have to invite anybody. You just say it, and we'll
Yeah.
be there.
You know
We
something
just
that
will
I-
show
Can
up.
we go tomorrow?
Actually, I'll be there
Great
for
place.
Fantasy Fest.
Oh.
So,
Can we join
Okay.
you?
well, I'll be on that gator running around. But
That's
yeah.
okay.
It's all right.
We'll do
So-
that too.
I've been to 2 fantasy fests. I don't
have not been to any.
remember any
That is
part
so
of the Keys.
shocking.
Yeah.
And like
I have not
really
been to
don't.
any fantasy fest,
Yeah.
and I really need to go.
People show
But-
me pictures and I go, that's not me.
Yeah, right. One of the interesting things is that
It
the chief
wasn't-
said, "Well, Doc, yeah, it's not what it used to be, because the same folks that were running around 35 years ago are the
Still
ones that
running
are
around.
still running around."
That's fine too.
Listen, I was not running around 35 years ago, but
Yeah.
I will volunteer.
But anyway,
She's gonna be good for about a good 4 hours of fantasy fest and she'll be out.
That's
Yeah.
not true.
yeah.
Okay.
I'll
But
pace
that
myself.
should be actually they expect it to be really. They were kind of quiet for the last couple of years, so they really expect to have a significant amount of
Oh,
folks
yeah.
there. So,
Yeah.
You're
So,
on.
baby, can
should
we
be
go?
interesting.
I want to go.
Yes, we'll put it in our back pocket, baby.
Nah, I don't want to put it in the back pocket. Let's put it in the front pocket.
So what else you got, buddy?
Then the end of January, we will have week 1 of community paramedic, January 30th through February 3rd. And then they will take 30-day break, work on a big project, and come back for week 2, March 6th through the 10th.
Ooh.
There is lots of other stuff already scheduled for next year, but I mean, for the sake of time,
Yeah, absolutely.
You can
visit
go,
our website.
Yep.
Yeah.
It's all there.
It's on the calendar.
If you
All there.
want to switch out with Bill, I
Yeah,
think
I'm
Bill's
going to
right
step out and let you
We
guys
got a
talk
hot
a little
dog
bit.
waiting
Thank you
back
so
there.
much.
My hot dog is
Yeah,
going to call.
yeah,
I'll
yeah.
join you in Fantasy Fest whenever you want.
All right, we'll be there. But let me let my chief and good friend Bill McGrath.
Yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Well, Mr. Bill's coming up there, buddy. What you got as far as the news there?
And just so everybody knows, he very often starts with "but" and then goes to "buddy" because he forgets who he's talking to.
Yeah, it's the same, really. Quite honestly, like I got a wife at work. I got
Yeah.
2 wives at work, 1 at home.
Mhm.
And I answered.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that.
Yes. You're definitely not
You
one.
are welcome.
Oh well,
you are a hippo. Well, that's cool. You're my camera guy when I got 2 wives.
So I found just a couple of interesting things.
Anything on Bob Saget?
No, we still can't find Carol
The,
Baskin.
the caper still continues. So we blame the Bob Saget thing on Carol Baskin, who's
Yes.
obviously guilty.
She is totally guilty.
Yes.
Yes,
Go
she
ahead.
has not
buddy.
been seen or heard from since.
No, but I need to go to the Big Cat Rescue. I think
Yeah, we've heard this before.
Coming
I love you.
I'm gonna check it out.
Nah, it's been checked out for 40
Yeah.
years.
Go ahead, buddy.
So there was a sentencing for the Parkland shooter
What?
Wow.
that I saw today, and there's
Mhm.
some very displeased.
It wasn't. Was
parents.
it a million years?
No, he was just sentenced to life, and the families of the victims are very disappointed that he was not sentenced to death.
You know, this is an interesting point that you bring up. It is if you were to poll people around the table, like, babe, are you for death or life in this situation?
To be honest, I'm pro life because it is worse to live your entire life in jail, in my opinion.
All right.
Like if you get to die, that's a break for you.
Josh,
I get where she's coming from, but no.
you're a death penalty guy. You
Yeah.
want to carry death penalty on that?
Yep.
Mr. McGrath, death penalty. Bill
Death penalty
McGrath
on
here.
that one.
We're blessed with a legend on this podcast today, man. I'm
Yeah.
telling you what.
Yeah, Josh is here.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know what the funniest thing is that like Josh and Tim heard stories about you for years.
Me
Really?
too.
Yeah,
like
forever,
they hear
actually,
stories
meeting
about you for years, and they don't meet you till we're like we make the finals. You were competing with like a team from over here somewhere. God, what was the Flagler County team?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Guys,
Okay.
and I go, that's the guy. We're getting our asses kicked there, boys.
I remember that. It was,
I know.
Clinton Con. It was
I
in
go-
Clinton Con MCS.
No, it was Fire East.
Yes.
and I go, boys, you're gonna get your ass kicked today. And yo,
I think I've been beat quite a bit. So,
as
it's
soon
not.
as you went up there, he said, "Hey, watch that guy. Watch what he does."
Feel honor. that you're
I
about to do
appreciate
this.
that, and it was a long time ago.
And I remember going to Tim. I go, that's what a team lead looks like. Not what you do. Yeah, do that. And we go. We do good. So you know, but life in prison, death,
Death. Yeah, death for that one. I think our issue is, paying for it. Why should we pay to keep him
Yeah.
So it actually
alive?
costs
So
more to
I could see
Keep
that.
them alive, right?
no, it costs more to sentence them to death than it does to keep them alive
I'm
because
gonna
of
need.
all of the appeals.
All the
and-
appeals, I could see
and
that.
Yeah,
all
okay.
of that
Yep.
shenanigans. And not only that, like we just watched the first episode of 60 what?
I knew 60 days in.
Oh,
60 days in.
I hate that
So
you were-
do you really want to get ass fucked for the rest of your
Probably
life?
not. But
Allegedly.
his
Allegedly.
he pled
Allegedly.
guilty though. So
Right.
to me, he
That's
shouldn't
not
have
easy.
appeals. He's the one he said he was
doesn't-
guilty.
He doesn't
That
get
was
appeals,
strictly the sentence. He shouldn't have any.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
but he's going to be in prison with all of those
So
Yeah.
not to
People
get
that knew what he did.
outstanding
Yeah, the people that knew what he
citizens.
did.
not to
Absolutely.
be in a death penalty debate or anything. Like me and Josh, we're sitting here coming back from Texas one time. We listened to this. we listened to this professor talk about the death penalty versus life in prison. And one of the things that he brought up was how many of these death sentences end up getting commuted to life anyway.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So you waste all this money to just put somebody to life in prison anyways.
Right. With just a different title.
Yes,
Right.
absolutely.
So we just had we talked about that a little while ago. There was a deputy involved shooting that apparently you ran years and years ago. I don't know if
What?
over in the county of Lakes,
yes.
and the shooter was
Oh, yeah.
paralyzed. He wasn't killed.
Yep.
He was sentenced to death, and that was 04, maybe 03
Yeah.
or 04.
Yeah.
And they just they just switched it to life.
Yeah. They took it back.
He killed
Just
killed
kidding.
a deputy.
You've suffered.
And,
You know what?
I mean,
What did that case with Markeith Lloyd? Did it already run its course
I
and he
don't know
gets
if it's-
sentenced?
I don't know.
Yeah,
if he's
I'm
been
pretty
sentenced.
sure.
I don't know whatever. I really don't know what
I know,
happened with
like
him.
the last time with his eyeball being popped.
Yeah,
out,
no, I knew that.
Oh, he
And then
popped his
last thing
eyeball
I
out?
heard, he was
Yeah, he lost his eye.
yeah,
Did
he was
somebody
yelling
step
at
on
the
it?
judge about how
No, baby.
police brutality cost him his eye.
Well, I mean, you shoot a cop, you get your ass kicked.
I feel
He
like
was sentenced to death.
And
I
a
mean-
you should
pregnant
not
woman.
run
Really?
from the cops.
He killed a pregnant woman.
Yes.
Sentenced to
Yeah.
death.
Yeah.
He was sentenced.
Which funny story.
Which is two people.
The first person on that call was my
It's
brother Tim.
Tim.
Oh, really?
So
Yeah.
Josh's brother
Wow.
runs the
The-
call on
the-
the police
The
officer.
police
Yep.
officer.
Yep.
You
Deborah.
know what?
Oh, I
you know
remember
what's
that.
crazy is that year
He
that-
said he
was
actually had to
nasty.
give the gun to the officer. Like, has
Yeah.
no one get this?
Yeah.
Can someone secure this?
So
It's amazing. isn't it?
the motorcycle cop that dies that year, that guy was
Yeah.
guardian. He's playing football with
Yep.
us.
I didn't
So
realize that.
so he died that it's like it's insane that dude fucked everything like
Yeah.
for everybody in that.
I
yeah.
feel like he should have been convicted of murder for that guy too.
So absolutely, you
Yeah,
should be
manslaughter
convicted
at
of
the
murder.
least.
But
Yeah.
let's think about it. Which is worse? What is it worse to die or worse to be absolutely tortured in prison every fucking day of your life?
I think
I don't-
after a while you get used to it and it's
Yeah.
not torture.
Yeah, used to it.
Right.
Yeah.
It's a
Really?
lifestyle.
They probably
Do
end
you
up
get
liking
used to
it.
ass
Exactly.
sex?
Right.
It's a lifestyle.
Maybe.
No, I don't
Or
think
they're
that
in
happens as
isolation.
much.
Who knows if they're even in Gen
Yeah.
Pop?
Yeah, absolutely. You know, it could
Oh, I
be,
think you should stay in Gen Pop.
that could be
Yeah.
diverse.
That would be a better.
No,
Yeah.
no
the fear-
isolation for you.
The fear to know that I have a date where they're going to end my life.
Yeah.
I'm not going to enjoy the days leading up to that date.
Right.
Yeah.
What
At
about-
all.
And that could be a good. Just
know.
kidding. Oh,
Yeah.
no, postpone it for another 400 days
Right.
just to make you think about it.
Absolutely.
I mean, now the
Oh, that's
only
a great idea.
Yeah.
the only issue about the death penalty that I have is from being in school and taking college classes and whatever is that there are a lot of people that are wrongfully accused.
There are not a lot. There are few.
So
Hey,
no, there are several.
I'm gonna tell you this. I watched the
There
hell.
are
Why?
few.
I feel like
I watched a lot of those
Me
documentaries.
as a
Yep,
Spanish
yep.
man, if I kill a white woman, I'm going to jail,
You are going to jail.
Well,
and
yeah.
I'm going to spend a long time in there.
So don't let me die.
Yeah.
well, you as not a white man would go to jail for that.
Yes. Hey, listen, man. I watch a lot of Dateline. The circumstantial shit you get accused. Buddy, let me
But-
start on that. Buddy, go ahead.
But on the other hand, because you didn't ask for my opinion, I not only am for the death penalty, but I'm also full blown eye for an eye.
Oh yeah, I think
These,
I agree.
these
Public
child
execution.
molesters and
They should
Yeah.
lose their penis.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And balls
the other thing is
forever.
like we're talking about extreme cases where
Yeah.
we know for sure that person
Right.
killed a deputy or
For sure.
killed a person.
Be on a
And,
show. No.
One place is if they never get to go to trial.
Right.
They never get to get arrested. And I
Yeah.
know there's a county very close to us that that happens a lot. Like if you kill somebody, you're probably not going to live.
Yeah.
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 Yep.
What else you got, buddy?
And that's good. So, coming off of that, I do find it a little entertaining that there were 2 fishermen in Ohio who were actually indicted for stuffing fish in a tournament and cheating.
That's unbelievable. You see this thing?
I did see that. With
But-
the weights
Like what
inside.
John Candy got accused of, and
Yeah.
you're stuffing the front of the sled with weights.
Yes.
But this
Cool
guy can
runnings.
kill 17 children, and that's all right. We'll just take care of you for the rest
So-
of your life.
Wow.
You know, it brings an interesting point because me and Mr. Bill been talking about some, competition cheating.
Mm.
Oh yeah, we were
and
referencing
rules,
that.
and we'll wait for you to finish the news to get on this one because
Oh,
it's a
boy.
good one. This is a good one. Go ahead, buddy.
So you wanted to talk about the fake gynecologist, the
Yes.
teenager pretending to be a gynecologist. He was 18 years old when he was arrested the first time.
Was his name Doogie?
His Dr. Love.
Oh, Dr.
So this is
Love.
out by your neck of the woods
Yeah.
over there, Palm
Yep.
Beach.
Now,
Not a joke, Dr. Love.
So basically, what came up with this was somebody sent me this case. This was 6 years ago, but there is a part of the case that they were trying to find an expert for, and I was like, man, I couldn't help you with that. But I said, I got a podcast. You mind if I talk about it? And they go, no. So they go. So basically, here's the case: is that this guy went to prison for fraud, Medicare fraud, and Medicaid fraud,
Right.
and billing people for not being a doctor. But he actually did physical gynecological exams on women.
But how many times you go to the doctor and check their credentials?
Yeah, never.
I mean, you just you
Never.
assume.
You take
Yeah.
it, you take it
you
for
assume
granted.
if they look like it,
Right.
you're going to
Now, if
believe
they're
it.
17, it may caught me a little off guard, But you don't ask.
I
You know,
generally don't go to a doctor unless I know a little bit about them.
But I would think, I mean, listen, in South Florida, you can go to Hialeah and get, go see the dentist and the gynecologist and whatever in the same
And get
office.
a- and
You know what I
get
mean?
a
So
haircut.
that's
Yeah,
the one I
haircut,
would
yeah,
think
keep
a
the
little
sandwich.
bit about,
Yeah,
but
sandwich.
in a normal office, it wouldn't even,
So this
I wouldn't
guy,
think about it.
so this guy got busted. So not to give up too much stuff. So there was an undercover officer that came in. This lady went through all the exam, and right when this dude was going to put her up in the stirrups and do the thing,
She pulled a gun on.
that's when they busted him. They go, okay, bam, I'm going to let they weren't going to let him check her vagina.
Right.
But like he did this to elderly women, 6 of them.
Oh,
He did.
I would
penetrated
kill a
them.
motherfucker.
That's
And
rape.
you're
I
like
mean,
all up in there.
Yeah.
that's rape. I mean, how does this guy not go to
Looking for
jail
stuff
for rape?
you don't know what you're looking for.
Right? You're just feeling around in there.
Right.
Oh, yep,
Looks
everything's
good.
fine.
Looks
Fiddling
good.
around
I
in a
wonder
dark
if any of
closet.
those people ended up having actual medical problems, cancer or something that was not found because
So-
there's a
Good
fake
point.
doctor
So-
up there.
Yeah.
That would be
I would
interesting.
kill a motherfucker.
Yeah, I just don't know
I'm
how
not
does a
even
gentleman-
Shank him in
so,
the schoolyard.
So the question that we would pose to the people
Yeah.
out there is this rape or not? And I
Yes.
think this is rape.
That's
He
Yeah.
a
penetrated
good
a
question.
woman.
So
Absolutely.
I mean that's my opinion.
If it's considered rape when you're 18 and she's 16, then pretending to be a
You would think
gynecologist
so.
you touch my
Would think-
grandma,
all up in there?
Yeah.
You touch my mom,
yeah,
I'm gonna
I'd
fucking
like to see
kill you.
comments about this. Actually.
yeah, that's just a good comment story out there.
Yeah.
No,
No.
and
Did,
then,
he, did he rape those women he performed exams
Yeah.
on?
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely,
Yeah.
What else you got, buddy?
Yeah.
Our last one that I had was there was a member of the SEAL team who passed away after what is called Hell Week.
Yes.
Oh yeah.
And there's some controversy about it regarding signs and symptoms the day before and whether or not he had been taking steroids.
Yes.
Yeah.
There's another word or term for that, and it just
All
like
I know
prednisone?
is it's going to lead to
Performance enhancing.
drugs.
Yes.
They better not soften
That's
the
it.
seals.
Right.
Don't make the seals woke. I will. No.
Don't
No.
wake the seals.
I
Don't
love
wake
this.
the
idea.
seals.
So Do you have the video of them describing the vital signs, the signs and symptoms in the sky?
Yeah, I sent it to him.
If you have it, buddy. But basically, when you look at the signs and symptoms of
He
this,
says it's fine now.
The sound.
yeah, sounds
It's good now.
Who's saying it's good?
Joseph.
Gotcha.
We figured it out after I dialed 911, and
And they call back.
and they called back, and I had to let them know there was no emergency.
Okay.
No, I
They'll be
wasn't
here
beating
soon.
my girlfriend.
Yes.
No, there's no girl in the background. Like,
Oh, is that what that was?
Well, there are a few of
Yes.
us here.
I
Yeah,
put it in this mount, and it just
So-
happened to hit the side button.
So
Mount.
if we can play that, because this is the
You have to give
greatest.
me a second. What am I playing?
Yeah, the
The
sound.
video that
video.
I
Navy
texted
SEALs
you.
video guy.
Seals one.
Yeah, whenever
give me
you-
a second.
1 minute and 10 seconds.
So this gentleman came out of Hell Week after
Mhm.
being in Hell Week, and I think they're
And for
very.
those that don't know what exactly a Hell Week is,
Go ahead,
Right, 'cause
Josh,
I didn't
explain this.
know.
You're related
it's
to
a,
like
it's,
a couple of these
Did
guys.
you do it?
My cousin Mike is a Navy SEAL. Yeah,
Uh-huh.
and I don't think I
You
could do
didn't. You
it.
didn't.
I don't think I could do it. No, they keep you awake. They keep you awake,
And
wet,
cold.
Watch G.I. Jane.
sandy, and awake
And
for
cold.
Yeah.
like 5 days straight.
Yeah.
Like no sleep. And if they do, they give you 20, 30 minutes, an
Yeah.
hour at the most. You're back
While
up,
you're eating.
wet, sandy,
Yep.
working out again. And it's just how to weed people out that don't have the mentality to stay there.
Yeah.
You know, it's like
The balls.
that's not what being a SEAL is. Everything comes after that, but you have to endure
Yeah.
that.
It's
to
just
become
endurance.
one.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Prove who you are.
You got to
right?
prove you can have
So-
the
Yeah.
mental fortitude to
I
stay.
agree. Like I agree with it wholeheartedly, and I hope it never changes. Although, unfortunately, I feel like with the culture today, maybe
Mhm.
they're going
Yeah.
to make it a little bit easier.
Yeah,
a
yeah,
little
that's
bit.
what I'm thinking. That's what I
But
was
here's
saying.
the thing:
Yeah,
like
yeah.
if that is the career path that you think that you want to take, I feel like they need to know the kind of person you are and what you have to give up front, because there is absolutely no reason to train you for a job that you can't do.
So play this thing real
In
quick,
my
there,
opinion.
Jason. Coming.
Yep. And
1 time,
2.
3.
Day before his death, when he was being medically monitored and at times given oxygen, his breathing sounded like gurgling water, and that his legs were so swollen when the course ended, he was sent back to barracks in a wheelchair.
Oh, that's
Within
not good.
hours, fellow recruits say he was barely coherent, gasping for air, was coughing up large amounts of brown fluid into a bottle, was so super swollen, he looked like the Michelin Man.
So-
And was at times completely disoriented. But
So definitely, what you think there, Bill?
Like, how are you going to medically clear them? For
Right.
that?
I mean, I don't.
Any
It's
medical
obvious to us,
professional would not do that.
It's who is the medical professional and what do
Any-
they see? Obviously these strenuous activities, you would think that they'd have someone that's examining them correctly. It's
I mean,
not
they've
just
done-
for boot loops,
Yeah.
right?
They've
So
done some documentaries where
Right.
you see the physicians out there
Right.
while in the middle of the night while
Just to
they're out
make
in the
sure.
cold doing
right,
hypothermia
but
checks.
this seems like it's a no-brainer. I mean,
Yeah.
just that little bit where you're
Can
in
we-
failure, right?
can we
So
talk about
we
A
can
Few
all
Good
sit
Men?
there, we're looking and we're in heart failure. So
yeah, you're in heart failure. Absolutely.
who expects a 30-year-old to be in heart failure that's otherwise probably in incredible condition? He's a SEAL or a potential SEAL, but medically,
Yeah.
you should at least start with an assessment. It should be pretty easy if they're describing, that he's gurgling.
Yeah.
I think a lot of this got clouded with the fact they found steroids in his car.
Right. But that was
Yeah.
after the fact, right?
Yeah, after the fact.
Yeah.
So I think a lot of like the whole like missed assessment on this guy. Like, I mean,
Right.
I don't think he goes back to his barrack. I think he goes back to a clinic. Right?
Absolutely.
He
Absolutely.
gets
Someone that can
Oh,
monitor.
absolutely.
So
Right.
here's the thing: like, you should actually do an assessment on the patient, and you should take that assessment seriously. Like, I remember probably almost 20 years ago, I had a patient that came in that was having a STEMI. He was like 22, 23 years old, and cardiology didn't want to come in to do the cath. They ended up coming in. They did the cath. He needed a bypass. And
Wow.
yep.
Mm.
And they were trying to call in the bypass team. And like, why is it just because of the age we dismiss diagnosis?
Well, I mean, from a cardiologist, I would assume. I mean, you're seeing
Like, this
hundreds
dude-
and hundreds of patients.
This
They
dude
just
looked like shit.
anyone can get complacent, right? They
Yeah,
get
absolutely.
complacent.
Absolutely.
We've gotten complacent in the street,
Absolutely.
and
But he
and-
looked like shit, sounded like shit. He's
See,
shit.
right, and that
Do
could
your
be,
job.
and and you start looking at these military medics, or I mean physicians,
Yeah.
obviously very well trained, well
Yeah.
educated.
Mhm.
But how many times do they see that?
They-
that
yeah, that's the
particular
thing.
thing.
I get
You know,
that
unlike a
he's
critical
young.
care nurse or a
Man.
medic that runs in a high volume system.
That's the
Yeah.
How
awesome.
much do you see it?
That's
So
the
it's
awesome
easy
point
to
of view.
become complacent.
Like I get that he's young,
So-
but that shit still happens
So
when they're
that's
young.
the so that's the
But how
awesome point of
often
view.
does
Right,
it
but we
happen in
see
SEAL
that
training?
or hear about it because we're in that network.
Yes,
But in the
they don't
military,
see
It was my
they
first
may
time
not see
seeing
it
it.
much. Yeah.
I was young.
So-
I was new in my career, but like I saw it and I was like, "Ooh."
Yeah, this doesn't
So-
look
Like,
right. I'm calling someone.
Even the
Yeah.
resident was like, "Well, it looks like a STEMI,
Right.
but he's only 22."
Right.
So from
Right.
Bill's,
And I was like, "Well, you should go talk to your attendant."
so Bill, I knew that you were gonna go in this route, and this is the greatest part of it. Like I wanted somebody else to have this opinion other than me. Here's this. Here's this doctor sitting at a Navy, especially at this Navy SEAL training,
Right.
thing, only sees the healthiest of
Absolutely.
yeah,
20-year-olds and stuff like that.
Right.
then he shouldn't have that fucking job.
He would not see the heart failure
Right.
patient, the patient that's in cardiogenic shock.
Right.
And it's just it's rare,
Or
and,
about to be,
that's
yeah.
why it's going to
Then
be
he needs
missed.
to go work in a nursing home.
You know who did the physician clear him, or did someone talk to the physician? The physician said, "Just send him back to his room." I mean,
Oh, I
how
don't
much
know.
of an exam was
Yeah.
even done,
Yeah.
as opposed to, "Hey, we have a SEAL that, or a potential SEAL candidate doesn't feel well. He's a little short of breath," and like, okay, just have him go rest for tonight. I mean, I could just see those type of things happening.
I'm sure most of
without
those
a
guys
full
that really
assessment.
want it won't
They're
even
not
say
gonna
if
say
they're going to have a
anything, right.
complaint. They're
Yeah.
having a little
So-
bit of pain. They're
Right.
not going to say anything.
So I
Yeah,
see,
I
I
guess
see
I
this
would
case,
do
and I
that.
go, man, if Bill comes on the podcast, I got to do this, and that's why I sent it to her because
Okay.
Monday we sat in a class. We were in a class with
Yep.
NAEMT trauma updates, right?
Yep.
Most of our trauma evidence that we're using now to resuscitate people is coming from the
Military.
battlefield, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
How many 60-year-olds are out there broken hips
None.
out there in the battlefield?
Right.
So all these all the chapters on like babies, pregnant women, and the old people are like these tiny little chapters.
Right.
But if you go to South Florida, that's your trauma patient.
Yeah.
And we're using data on the 20-year-old person in the battlefield. I said, I don't
Doesn't
think
make
that
sense.
a lot of it fits into the box of the general medicine,
True.
into what we do.
True.
Like it didn't seem weird. Like we have these people continue quoting these fucking military studies that have nothing to do.
They did a
with
lot of
what we do.
military
Yeah,
studies.
what we do. It's not what we do.
You know, a lot of pelvic girdles
Yeah.
and slings. And you say, well, you're slinging a 30-year-old. Well, yeah, they're also hemodynamically intact
Yes.
for the most
Compensated
part. And
much
they're
longer.
doing very well. They're
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
70-year-old involved in a very bad accident and fractures their pelvis.
Freddie
Two
Batista,
completely different things.
Freddie
Or one that was on
Batista
a
says that
bicycle.
he was bypassed for his brain tumor as a migraine.
Oh wow.
Oh, wow. That's a bad
So
one.
I really do
You know,
think
I worry about that all the time.
what's
Every
that?
time you have a headache.
Yeah.
I have migraines all the time,
Yeah.
and I have like chronic neck pain that I just finally went to a doctor for that wants to send me for an MRI.
Mhm.
Nobody's
That's
ever
shocking.
wanted to. They've just sent me for X-rays, and I do worry about that. Like, is that what it is?
The
like,
funny thing is,
and
I
now my
finally
eyes
went to the
twitching.
doctor, right? We're all the worst in that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
As soon as we
Yeah.
feel something go up.
Yeah.
All right. If it was legit, I'd be dead by now.
Yeah.
But I don't need to call anybody.
Yeah.
I
So
think about
I'm
that all
good.
the
We
time.
dismiss everything.
May-
Yeah.
Right.
I may have done that today.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah.
She did that
Yep.
today.
Yep.
You know, I mean, I worry about a lot of the current stuff that comes out. And when I sit in these classes and I go, here is like a top rated military doctor,
Yeah.
special warfare guy that missed a cardiogenic shock patient.
Yeah. But how many times did they see it?
They don't ever see it.
Why do they not? Why do they
I mean,
not
remember,
make
David
them do
Goggins had a
clinicals
heart
that
problem.
will
They
see
probably do, but I mean,
Yeah, but
how long ago?
Yeah.
You know, they
I
did
don't know.
it. They could have done that 20, 30 years
Well,
ago.
That's a long
and then
time.
how
Well,
extensive
listen,
are the
this
cardiac
is
exams
not just
coming into the
physician based.
military?
Thinking about
I
this
don't know.
all around the country
There you
from an
go.
EMS perspective
Yeah.
to a nursing perspective, depends on where you work. You know, where I'm in South Florida in God's waiting room, everybody's 90.
Yeah, yeah.
You know what I mean? So we get all of the polypharmacy, we get the trauma, we get kind of everything. But if you work in a system that sees gets 100 calls a year,
Yeah.
you could be a medic for 25 years. How much have you been exposed to? And I'm sure it's the same by hospital based. If you're in a small region, military that have the same kind of linear type of complaint. It's
Yeah.
all the same bumps, bruises, dehydration. And I'm probably assuming that.
Yeah.
But
I get that. I have worked at some smaller emergency departments,
Right.
and some serious shit has come in, and
Yeah.
the nurses that I've worked with are
everybody
like
panics. Oh my God.
clueless, and I'm
Yeah.
like, what the fuck is wrong with you right now?
And it's you know, the experience
true.
the military person gets, especially after being in war for 20 some odd years, right? They're seeing this. So today, you know, I'm sitting at a booth, you know, walking through the conference,
Right.
and this gentleman's talking about watching a dude be able to tolerate a tension pneumo for a longer period
I'm
of time.
sorry,
than
what?
normal. And I go, well, yeah, I mean, I get it. He's you know, 20 some odd years old.
Right.
You ever seen a 50-year-old that's a smoker that do how he does with a tension pneumo?
Right.
He don't do well.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
it's amazing, like because my medicine is different than that medicine, and it's, you know, my son's a military guy, and I
Right.
thank God for the care he's going to get if he needs it, or
Right.
but he's also a guy that if you have a asthma attack in front of him, he's going to put a needle in your chest.
Yeah.
So you don't even know any different.
Right. And
You know?
I don't need to wait to see how long they'll tolerate it. You know, who's the
Yeah.
one that has
Yeah.
to do that part of the
Yeah.
study and say,
Yeah.
we're going to wait for a little bit because we're in
Yeah.
a study here. I
Yeah,
want to
that
see how
ain't
good
me.
you do.
That ain't me,
You know,
man.
no, me either. Yeah.
That ain't me.
No.
You study the next guy. Fix me real quick
Yeah.
if you don't mind.
With
Yeah.
your history, how long you got to do an EMS?
93. So next year will be 30
Wow.
years.
Wow.
That's awesome.
So you've seen it
I started high
evolve.
school in '93.
Thanks.
You-
I was 5.
Yeah, even better. Wonderful. Great.
what made you get into doing this, man?
What's that?
What made you get into doing
You
this?
know what? It was by chance. And my father's a physician, sister's a nurse, mom's a nurse. I was around the hospital for years after, in college, and I worked in physical therapy. And I thought that's where I was going. So as I was working in physical therapy, it got a little frustrating because I was treating patients based on insurance, right?
Oh.
So
Yeah.
this patient has this insurance. You can spend 15 minutes with them on their, hip
Fuck
replacement.
that.
And that became frustrating, but I thought that was the norm, right? And then I saw EMS always in and out. I'm like, that seems pretty cool. And let me see if it's something different that I want to do. Didn't know anything about it. No one in my family's ever been in the fire service or EMS.
Yeah.
And I took an EMT class, and one of my first few clinicals, we had a gunshot wound, and that was back when we wore white dental smocks. That's what we wore, right? And we had a gunshot wound. I had blood all over me, and I'm
Yeah.
like, "This is awesome!" Right?
Greatest
That was
I've ever
those
had.
years, and I remember coming home, and I was newly married. My wife was. I said, "Don't touch any of this stuff. I'm changing. I'm going back. This is what I want to do." And then I just hit the door running with that, and then I went to the fire academy just so I can get that type of job.
Yeah.
And I embrace that as well. I like
Yeah.
the fire. I still love medical. I'm battalion chief in the street, and I still run medical calls. I like the medical challenge. It still intrigues me. And I was lucky enough to be
always
with
different.
Doc. And when I first started, Doc was the director in the ER that we would be delivering patients to. So when I was new and starting, he was the type of physician that called you right back.
That's
And
awesome.
it was awful. You get the phone call, and he's like, "Hey, that patient you just drop off, come back."
Yeah.
Oh no. And it's like the walk of shame, going to the principal's office.
Yeah, come
And
on
he'd be
back
like,
now.
he's like, go in there and listen to their lung sounds again. And I'm like, well, that wasn't like that when we dropped them off, right? That's all
I'm
new.
telling you, Doc. I didn't see
That was years, so that
Yeah.
really made me appreciate it even more. So,
I remember working in trauma
was
and
great.
getting a phone call asking about a patient.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
that's how I
It's-
start. I was trying to give her some dick, man, for all pure, that way, full disclosure. That's what I called her, allegedly.
Yeah, but no, that's how it started, and I've loved it ever since. I still do.
Yeah.
It's a little tougher getting up at 2 and 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning.
Yeah.
But
I'm gonna tell you, man, that hurts.
it does hurt.
I'm like,
He does not recover as fast.
Right.
Man, I used to be able to run all these calls at nighttime. Now
He
we
used
get
to work 48s on,
Yeah.
24 off.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I get
Yeah,
these,
Jason does the same thing.
I get these flights in the middle of the night, and I can't
Nope. He can't recover
I'm
like he
it's
used
gonna
to.
take me 5 minutes to get there,
Yeah.
fellas.
Right.
Give me a second.
I'll be here.
Yeah.
I'll be there.
I
Just
can't-
just understand I'm coming. Don't worry about it. I'll
and
be there.
I
Yeah.
can't
I hear
pee
that.
as fast as people. I'm like, now I've resorted to peeing next to the helicopter. Like, I was in the camera. I'm like, I don't care. I gotta pee, but I couldn't pee upstairs. I'm gonna pee here.
Yeah.
You know what I
Yeah.
mean? It's,
No, it's
man.
different. I still love it. It's been a great career.
Yeah.
I'm still going. I got a little bit more, but it's fed my family. I enjoy it.
you've taught a lot of people around the state. Like you've
Yep.
been
Yes,
you are a name, and it's huge. And I mean, it's an honor to have you here.
Appreciate that.
It is.
Okay.
I've heard this story secondhand from people, and you can
Oh.
talk about it if you
Oh, I
want
don't
to
even
or
know what
not.
this is coming. I don't know what's coming, but
But
Okay.
I've heard the story about you, like you call 911, you have an emergency.
Okay.
These guys show up at your house,
Mhm.
and it's your daughter.
Yeah.
And like
Okay, we're warm so far.
it's students, like people you taught paramedic
Uh-huh.
school to in there, and they talk about this airway.
You're throwing me off here. Okay,
Yeah,
go
yeah.
ahead. Yep.
So these guys are as nervous as they could be, and you're basically in the tube on your own kid.
No.
What?
story
No,
goes, no.
no, I didn't have to tube my kid. Thank goodness.
Thank God.
That would be
So
hard.
she was 2. We heard her kind of
Fuck.
coughing, gagging on the monitor type of thing. Went. My wife, you hear that all the time.
Yeah.
My wife's a nurse, so she grabs her, comes in. She goes, she just doesn't look right. I said, okay. Well, she does look out of it, but it's in the middle of the night.
Mhm.
And as we're watching her, her eyes roll back, head falls back, and she's out.
Fuck.
I said, oh shit, right? So I take her, and I'm holding her, and she's completely limp. I put her on the table, and I'm watching her breathing go slower. And I'm just yelling at her, please don't do this, please don't do this. And then boom, she's not breathing. I'm like, oh God, just please don't code. So I did mouth to mouth for a little while. It seemed like an eternity. Obviously,
Yeah,
wasn't that
You,
long.
you told your wife to call 911.
Yeah, as she was
Yeah.
screaming and yelling, she was calling, right? And then when she was making laps around the house and saw me doing mouth to mouth, she obviously lost it too.
I would too.
And it never coded, thank goodness.
Thank
I'm like, please
God.
don't, please don't, please don't. So that story, yes, the rescue shows up and they come in and they see me and they're like,
no.
and I said, look, yeah, they're like, okay. And I said, look, I'm going with you. This is what we're doing. They were great. Not like just tell us what to do. They're still medics and
Yeah, they
they're
do the
qualified.
thing.
And it is my child. I really shouldn't be doing
Yeah.
anything, right? It should be here. So, very high respect, Palm Beach County Fire Department, let me go. She never really came back around. We bagged her for a little while and she started to breathe again. And, the story, we never intubated her, but the thing that was going to traumatize me the most for some reason was the IO. I remember it completely. And I said, listen, whatever you have to do, I'm good, but just let me know if you're going to do an IO because I'm going to look away. And big deal. I mean, I would think I would have been traumatized by the intubation or whatever.
Yeah.
But so, long story short, we get to the ER and the doc looks at her, and he puts her right on the nurse's station. She's still out. And she spent, a week or so in the PICU and they never found one thing wrong with
Are
her.
you
She
fucking
slowly
kidding me?
started to come
Crazy.
back.
Wow.
Wow.
And, doctors were coming in, neuro and endocrine, and every specialist would come in
They
and do a
couldn't
PICU.
find
And they're
anything
like,
wrong with her.
this is the kid that wasn't breathing. She's sitting up in the bed like everything's good. And I'm like, I'm not telling the story again, right? So we would go through it and the doc would come in and I'm looking and he said, we got nothing. I said, and he goes, look, that's a good thing, right?
No,
it's a
not.
good thing because I could be coming in going, she has a brain tumor, right? I mean,
Yeah.
so she got
But
a
how do
full
we know it's
makeup.
not going to happen again?
Well, that was basically what they told us. They said, we don't know if this is ever going to happen again. So the
Fuck.
next, she's 17 now and I still am like,
You watch her.
You know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
so yeah. And
And
so,
whenever she gets married, you're going to be like,
Put
yeah,
put
exactly.
mirrors under her
So
nose.
no, it was definitely traumatic. Luckily, she did very, very well. And, but no, I never had to intubate her. I don't think I would have.
The craziest thing is that I've heard the story before.
Yeah.
I haven't.
But we're teaching in Palm Beach County like a month, like 2 or 3 months ago. We're there,
July.
Yeah.
and a guy tells that story in the middle of the thing.
Really?
So I grabbed a shirt for a polo shirt to wear to class,
Uh-huh.
but it's the Braxton competition shirt. I
Okay.
didn't see what it was, so I'm wearing it to class. So I'm
Right.
sitting there wearing it, and he goes, "You work for Braxton College?" I go, "No." So it's a long story, but
Right.
I compete with Bill's team, and he goes, "Dude, I gotta tell you the story about."
Was
this
he
guy."
on the call?
I think he was on the call
Yeah.
because he
Oh,
tells it
shit.
like first, and it's his, and it may not even been him on the call. Like, and that's the thing. I'm like, it's one of those things that I've heard it before,
Yeah.
and then you hear from another guy and like it's the, stories evolve. But
Sure.
the
Oh, yeah.
one thing you always hear is this that how calm you were in the
Well-
whole situation.
You
How
know,
the fuck were you
it is
calm?
funny. I was very calm until I got to the hospital. Once I got to the hospital and handed her over, not me, but she was over with the doc, I went outside and completely lost it. That's when it was done. And it was very difficult after that. But during, I wasn't crying, wasn't panicked. Even when my kids get sick now, you panic a little bit, you know. But for some reason in that event, it wasn't until I handed her over, and then it was bad. No one wants to treat your own family member.
No, I remember one time Amber had a small nosebleed, and she came to me with it, and the first thing I did was, "Oh my god." And then I said, "I'm sorry, I just civilianed out on you. Yeah, let's go take care of your nosebleed."
Yeah, and I called Doc, of course, and Chin. I remember it was middle of the night, and Chin's like, "I'm on my way," and obviously Doc as well, and she just got better over time. It was the strangest thing. So was she coughing, gagging, maybe vagaled herself so bad that it went to that extreme?
Who knows? Yeah.
But the thing about it, she didn't come back for a good hour. She was still out of it. So, they said it could be vagal. I've never seen somebody vagal for an hour.
For that long,
I can understand the passing out, but you would think it'd come back. So never found anything.
Man.
Knock on wood, they never do.
Yeah, exactly.
What's she gonna do now? What's she 17 now?
She is. We're touring colleges, so she's gone from being a physician, looking at medical schools. Now she's looking at DNP, nurse practitioner, and anesthetist programs. But she's 17, so
who knows?
but she's my brainiac for sure.
Yeah.
She's a straight A student, so she'll have some good options no matter what she
world's an oyster, man. So I didn't have a girl till I married Trish, and now she's gonna kill me, man.
Yeah,
that's what I hear. It's a death of me, man. That thing. It's like we got.
Are you gonna tell her what happened the other day?
Man, so I give them money for their grades, right?
Right.
But like if you get C's, you're paying me money.
They give it back, right?
Yeah, give me money back. All right. Yeah, So she did her math, and there's a reason why she may have C's here and there. She did her math all fucked up.
She's awesome. She's amazing when she does anything athletic, like cheerleading and BMX. And
she ain't doing no Dosage Scout. That's for sure.
It's amazing though how we concentrate on those grades.
Really hard.
My son, you passed. You did. You're doing good.
Yeah.
But my daughter, will bring all A's and a B. I'm like, what happened to the B?
Yeah, you expect more.
And you're like, what are you talking about? But I still do it. I catch myself
all
the time. Right.
My son is really incredibly smart, but no athletic. I mean, maybe just a smidge, but
soft as table
a whole lot of athletic ability.
I do the softest shit.
He is.
Yeah.
But
I see your comment, Kelly. Yeah, you're better than Tom.
She does. She has a lot of athletic ability, not as much book smart. So we're looking at their report cards. Go ahead.
So she basically did her math, and she was gonna give me $5 back. When I do the math, I'm giving her $20. So I give her $20. She's so confused about it that she did nothing but cry. And I go,
it's funny how people think it's, and I've told the story to Doc. My daughter is with people that are very high academic. They're all looking at Ivy schools or Ivy League schools, and one of her very good friends was talking about grades, and he's number one in their class, and they have a very large school in Palm Beach, and one of their friends was like, I'm third in the class and I can't catch you. I want to be first, but unless you start to falter, I can't. And they're having the conversation, and the guy who's number one, he said, well, are you in so-and-so's class? She goes, yeah, I'm in the class with you. He said, do you do the homework? She goes, I do all the homework. It takes me 3 or 4 hours to do this. He goes, I've never done any of the homework.
What?
Because mathematically, I figured it all out that the homework is only worth this percentage. I can get zeros on all of that. I'll still get an A in the class. I can use that time studying in a different class. This is 16 and 17-year-olds that figure out the mathematical equations and say, if I just do this, 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 and this, I'll get an A.
That'll be Xander.
And that's all I need to do.
I swear to you,
it's amazing. For us, we struggle, and we would never think about things like that. But they're looking at grading rubrics and stuff at 16 and 17.
That's my son.
That's her son right there.
That's my son. He's going to be like,
I would have never thought to look at all of that. I would do everything and just hope for the best grades, right?
Yeah.
But now, we've seen at the college level too, there's a reason we provide rubrics so they know what they should spend more time on. Some of them look at it, some of them don't. I'm like, well, here's what you're graded on, and this is the percentage of your grade. Concentrate.
Zoe's going to try to do absolutely everything. Xander's going to be like, fuck you. This means more. I'm going to ace this, and I'm not even going to worry about that.
So you guys at Braxton College, you guys you guys have a full-on 4-year degree school.
Yes.
And this is you guys started,
2018.
2018.
2018 we started the bachelor's.
But you guys before that, basically had all different schools that you know
Right.
pulled out
I
of the
mean,
clutches. Like,
when we started the schools that I was involved in, Doc was before me, but in '99 we started the FMTI days, and we did diploma programs for years. The EMT, paramedic. We got into fire, and then eventually did associates, and that was started because some of the transfers from private schools into the public entity back then was just such a challenge.
Yeah.
And we said, we're providing a pretty good service to our providers. Let's get to the next level. And we did associate's degrees, accredited the associate's degrees. And we thought we were, the cat's meow at that time. And you're like, now just about everybody has them. So when we, really branded Braxton College, we said, well, if we're going to do this if you're going to call yourself a college, we're going to run bachelor's minimum.
Yeah.
And we still have visions of where we're going to be master's and upper level degrees. But, we just added another bachelor's degree as a BSN. So, that's where you need to be. You want to put yourself to a high standard.
And you're big in the accreditation world. Like, even just sitting there the other day in a class with you, you got people coming up to you that, across the country that you guys are helping to get this stuff.
Yep.
This whole NREMT decision is a big fucking problem.
Because luckily they pulled it back, but yeah.
So speak a little bit about that.
So right now the National Registry obviously does the exams, right? So in the National Registry bylaws, you have to graduate from a COEMS accredited school to take their exam. It's not a Florida rule. It's a National Registry rule, which is a private testing entity. That's all they are. However, that's their rule. So Florida or anyone else can't tell them what to do. They'll just say, okay, don't come take our test. So that's our rule.
Yeah.
So they've been getting some pressure. National pass rates are not good.
What?
And COEMS, the accrediting body, COEMS is a small accrediting body for the most part. They don't have a huge staff. And when everyone really started to look at this and say, okay, we need to get COEMS, you have schools from around the country all trying to do COEMS at the same time and get site visits and do all of those things. And what happened was there's a delay now, and you're really making, my personal opinion, you're making every program almost the same, right? So everyone's using FISDAP, everyone's using this testing. So now I don't want to say it doesn't matter where you go to school, because it does matter, and it matters the instructor that's in front of you.
Exactly.
But for the most part, most schools are using all the same curriculum because we all have to be COEMS compliant. So it's a matter of who's in front of you teaching. So the registry came out, and what happened was they had a board meeting, and COEMS was at that board meeting, and they were asked, can you show us data that shows a COEMS accredited school graduate is better or more proficient than the previous non-COEMS accredited schools?
Shit.
And they said, no, we don't have that data. And they said, well, then why are we enforcing this? And they said, well, we don't compile that data. And they said, well,
why wouldn't you?
If you're saying that everyone needs to be accredited by you, shouldn't you be able to prove that their accreditation works? Now, I'm not saying it doesn't, but they didn't have the data. So National Registry took a vote at that time to say, you know what, let's put it on the table that we will allow just state approval to take our test, which is very dangerous, right?
Absolutely.
So that caused a huge outcry, and everyone was fighting that. Push it. So, and accreditation is important,
It absolutely is.
Accreditation
Absolutely
at whatever
is.
level, and whether that's COEMS or any other accrediting body, it's important. And so they put that out there, and everybody went nuts. The danger of it is, if you do state approval, there's certain states in this country they don't even have a bureau that approves schools. You apply, you're automatically approved.
You're
And
right.
off you run. In the state of Florida, if you're private, you have two governing bodies. You have Department of Ed and you have Department of Health, right? So Department of Ed is a relatively straightforward application. And as long as you meet this, you're off and running. And Department of Health does a site visit, make sure you have equipment, you have instructors, you're good too.
You're good.
So in theory, you could do this.
Yeah, it's be anybody. Yeah.
You could do it in the back of a fire station.
So what happens as far as pass rates go?
Well, right now they're poor. And luckily National Registry took that verbiage away. They said they didn't institute it. It was a call for comment for those 60 days, and they did not execute it.
So it's still the same thing. You got to be
you have to be COEMS accredited.
accredited.
Yes, right. Now, is that going to help pass rate? the problem in our state with pass rates, and we'll look at ourselves and everybody else that does it. You've been involved in EMS, and critical care and nursing for years, but are you an educator?
Nope.
You guys obviously,
you are.
yes, you teach, but when you take medics teaching medics that have never been trained to be educators has some dangers, and we're now
Absolutely.
teaching certain objectives, and those objectives are being tested. And there's a lot of instructors everywhere, from our institution to any place else,
Everywhere.
that don't understand the EMS education standards. They
teach
don't
their-
even know what the document is,
They teach the local protocols instead of
or
national standards.
they look over a PowerPoint that the
Yeah.
publisher provides and go, "Oh, this is what I'm teaching." Okay. Oh,
I
there's
hate
only
that.
30 slides, and we're like, "What does that have to do with anything?"
No,
Right? So,
yeah.
and that's just our occupational. We end up teaching the way we were taught, right? So if you had that instructor made it click, well, that's the way you teach, but you don't even know adult learning methodology.
Objectives.
So,
and
so that I think is a statewide, probably a nationwide
Yeah.
challenge.
Absolutely.
And Jamie Green, who's the education committee chair on MSAC in the advisory council, just put a great program together, and he wants to go around to the schools. It's probably a 2-hour presentation on what the national education standards are, not what your textbook covers, what the standards
the
are,
standards
and
are.
why
As they
we're
should.
teaching the way we're teaching.
Yeah.
So people don't say, well, they don't need to know that. Well,
Yes,
here's
they
the
do.
standards. They need to know all of this. How you present it is up
Yeah.
to you and your
Yeah.
school.
Yeah.
But most people don't even know the documents. And like you said, we work with a lot of other schools trying to help them through different things. And that's the first thing I ask. We'll talk to instructors and say, well, what do you use to teach this? Well, the PowerPoint. Okay.
What PowerPoint?
Do you review the lesson plans for
Yeah.
what lesson plans? A school will say, here's the PowerPoint, here's the schedule, and they teach it. And, they get by, but now you're looking at a much more comprehensive exam
Yeah.
in the National Registry.
Well,
and that's why we're seeing, in my opinion, those,
and I
those
try
pass rates go down.
to, I think a lot of so for us in the business that we're in, we're basically teaching these board accreditation, these board exams, like the,
Right.
flight paramedic and critical care exam and stuff like that, which is all practical application questions, right?
Right.
So it's 5 or 6 concepts in this question, and you got to be able to teach this to these
Yeah.
people.
Absolutely.
The National Registry the same way. Like when you look at the so that's why accreditation is important, and this is
Yeah.
where people miss it.
Right.
Like we just recently went through our accreditation, and it's a pain in the ass. You got to
Yeah.
write policy.
But it makes
It's
you
a
better.
favorite.
You got to do all the stuff, right? So we had to change test questions
Yeah.
that we've used for years. Well, here's the shit: you can't teach recall anymore.
Right.
Recall questions got to be 10% of what you're fucking
Yeah.
facing. The reality is that paramedics got to be able to treat a poly anything patient.
Yeah. And they do. And it's hard to evaluate that at an entry level.
Yeah.
Like, what do we expect from a new grad medic? And I talk to our students, and
That is a great
when
question.
I go to talk to fire chiefs, and we do promotional testing and things like that, or entry level testing, well, what do you want in an entry level medic? What are we trying to accomplish? And it's funny, we test medics, right, for pre-employment type of thing. We give them a mega code and all this. You're not going to be in charge of that mega code. God, I hope you're not.
Yeah.
No.
Better not be.
But fire, if I want to test a firefighter, why command? They're like, no way.
no way.
What do you mean? If I'm
They're
not
never-
going to hold them in charge, then don't put them in
they're
charge.
not
Ready for that yet?
Yeah.
I mean, I feel like it's with anything. Like when, and granted, my only experience is nursing, but you don't actually really have all the stuff that you need to be a nurse until you've been one for 2 years.
Absolutely.
Like you need all of that experience for the last 2 years in like as the very minimal, I guess, requirement to be able to be a good nurse.
Yeah, but look what you're seeing now. You
Yeah.
have graduates have never touched a patient.
I know.
Yeah.
They're doing simulated clinicals
Yeah.
from COVID,
I
and that is going to
know
backfire on
it
us in the
is.
next
That's
year or two.
So
We're going to see
fucking scary.
when we-
People
when
are
I
pushing
talk to-
it too.
when I talk to the fire chiefs associations, I'm like, you better ramp up your training programs
Yeah.
because your candidates are going to get worse. I don't care
Yeah.
if they've passed. Your
Yeah.
new employees are not going to be
They're
proficient,
not-
and they're a product of the environment, not
They
the
are.
school.
Yeah,
or
they're
the
not. They're
it's
not.
just
They're
the
not
way it
ready.
is. They are not ready.
They
So-
didn't do the clinicals that we used to do a long
No,
time. Like,
not at all.
I
And
had
nursing
more-
schools 20 years ago were cutthroat,
Yeah.
and
Yes,
10
they
years
were.
ago, not anymore.
Like
Um,
I did it more than 20 years ago.
Yeah, you and
but
Clara Barton were in the same class. Right?
Whatever.
Hold on for a second, because I want to ask Josh this. because Josh and Jason have gone through promotional exams and stuff like that as fire department.
Yeah.
When you were going through the engineer's exam, there's a tactical portion of what you did. And here's the thing, like you got Josh that becomes a paramedic at the fire department, right? Gets put in a rescue truck for, and then now they want him to tactically put out a fire.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah,
like
basically as like a lieutenant would.
Yeah. Because you're going to be an engineer. So
and you
can
can
ride up as an
potentially
officer.
Right.
Yeah.
But
it wasn't difficult. You just need to know your stuff. I mean,
but you prepare for
not
that
as
exam.
difficult as an EMS test.
Right. You understand the benchmarks and tactical formats. So you know how the testing's going to go.
Yeah.
But
why when the fire doesn't go out when you want it to go out?
Well, why do they call fire minimum standards? Why don't we call paramedic minimum standards?
There you go.
And really have that approach. Let's teach them the basic level of where they need to be and stop trying to make field docs from graduates.
Yes.
You can now make them that in that 5 or 10 or 20 year period for sure. But
Like
and
5
that's just my
years.
opinion.
So
5 years.
you're trying to make the safest practitioner possible.
Right.
That's trainable when he gets to the job that he's going to do.
Those will succeed with or without you. The A student, that excelling student that's going to come out like a superstar is going to do it no matter what.
Yeah.
Because they have the drive to do it, the study habits, and the instructor that makes it click. Our challenge in the state and nationally is taking that C student and making them proficient. And too many instructors give up on those C students. They're like, they're not going to make it.
No, that's
you're
the
right.
challenge.
They're not hired yet. You're right.
That's
Your
the
job is
challenge.
to make them make it.
Yeah.
And not everyone's going to be the superstar. So get them through it. Get what you got to do. Put your time in. That's called teaching.
When you get the dumbass that makes it through class, that like actually does it and can perform and do teach patients, that's the legacy you leave behind. Like, listen, a student like this one, like Josh, could complete recall and memory of mind. Easy to teach. But
so my paramedic program was taught by him. Probably the last hard program taught
but
in
there's
the
a
state,
dude,
I want to say.
There's a dude in his class we call Lunchbox. And now this motherfucker couldn't put a Band-Aid on people.
Right.
But he's out there doing it now.
Yeah.
I go on a flight the other day and I sit there, I don't forget to tell you, but I sit there and I'm watching this dude intubate this patient, like let him finish it. And like and my partner's like, hey, let me go. This guy's gonna get it. Gets it. This dude's still in the car. It's all fucked up. I looked at the partner I was with. I'm like, even if you try, you're not gonna get that shit. That's what this dude does.
Yeah.
And you watch this guy. That's for me as an instructor having this guy do. I'm like, damn, that's the dumbest guy in the paramedic class. Like I lost money on him that he wasn't gonna pass.
Right.
And here's that guy doing that call.
And he's doing it.
God damn, I go.
Isn't that cool though?
That's successful.
Shout out to
and
Lunchbox.
that's cool. And that's cool to see over years. I run in people in all these conferences and I'm dating myself, but they're like, oh, I haven't seen you. And I'm like we were talking, trying to look at the ID tag, going, oh my, I taught you.
Yeah.
And like, oh, I just finished medical school. You're like, oh, shit. Oh my God. Right. Or I'm teaching their son.
Yeah.
I've gotten some of those too. So it's, but it is the people I went through paramedic school are all chiefs or retired. Some place there's not too many that are just working the streets. But it's still pretty neat to see and continue to give back and do it. It's still like teaching in front of a classroom.
Yeah, and I think there's so much you guys give to the world. The Keys class you guys have going on. That's a place that's starving for education.
It is.
The Florida Keys is a cool place to visit, but it isn't a place that gets a lot of services.
Well, it's too expensive.
Yeah.
And really, we've been open there, and Doc and I opened there in 2015, the school down there. And, we're open to the public, and I could definitely count on one hand how many people we've had from the public.
They come to
really
class.
Who we're training is the employees of the fire rescue departments in Monroe County. And then they leave. They go to Miami-Dade and they hire more EMTs and they need to train them. But you can't afford, it's very difficult to live there on, the salaries that firefighter medics make. So they commute from Homestead. And, depending on where you are in the Keys, that's 2-3 hours one way to work. And Key West creates that challenge too. They're getting ready to hire right now. And I think they opened up firefighter paramedic and they pay well, like $60,000 to start. And they had one applicant, because people can't
afford to live there.
They can't fathom being way down there.
Right. And so there's definitely challenges. So, we run our programs and we have great partnerships with Marathon Fire Rescue and those that are there. So we keep the overhead very low so we can continue to provide that service for them. But it's really for them. And that's what we keep talking to that department. This is your school. Yeah, our name's there and we'll do it, but this is yours. If you don't send us students, we're closed anyway. And we'll concentrate on Braxton College and our main campus. So it is there for you. And, do with it what you wish. Just, however we can help you, it's for you guys because they don't have anything there because it's very hard to sustain that.
It's like there's nothing there. Like, I mean, we get
hospitals.
Calls.
But, try and put paramedics in the clinicals. What experience are they going to get? Anything critical's flown out. So they don't get to see that. Even if they're employed there, they fly them all out. So they don't get any time with those. Now, Marathon has critical care where they do interfacility.
I used to work with a nurse practitioner.
Yes, there we go.
There you go.
Whatever. She's down there, has her own clinic. She's fantastic. Whatever.
I love you, baby.
Y'all.
Doc, and for you and Doc, the question.
By the way, I ordered this for you.
God.
When you there's a lot of times owning your own business and doing this stuff and schools and all the stuff you've done. There's a lot of times where you got to make that decision of the most ethical thing to do versus we're going to lose money on this one. And
can we say hello to Richard Schaefer real quick?
Hello, Richard Schaefer. Is he watching?
He is listening.
Yeah, we'll talk about him in a second.
He says he's the Leesburg
know what he
lifesaver.
says.
I don't know about that.
That man is
Leesburg lifesaver.
That man does nothing but kill people and make babies.
He does kill people every day.
So, but Amanda's been in the office now, almost a year, right?
Yeah.
And she watches me make these decisions sometimes where Amanda's it's the full-time employee I have. And but I have to make decisions sometimes and go, we're not going to make any money on this one.
Right.
And we got to do it. Yeah. There's a lot of stuff we do that basically sometimes that is better to do it because it's going to help somebody, live.
Right.
And we're not going to make a single dollar on it.
But it's more important that the person lives.
Well,
I don't know.
It's still a business.
It is a business.
So you have to make money if you can continue to do business.
Yeah.
But you make money on other ones. You know what I mean? Yeah. So you could definitely have the break-even projects. We first started, you always have that, I want to get my foot in the door. We'll do that. We'll do this one cheaper and we'll do this one cheaper. And eventually you abandon ship on that and say, we're done. We've already proven ourselves. A quality product costs money.
Yeah. We have done
that. With that, you also have partnerships and loyalty as well. So sometimes you want to help. The Keys is a prime example. They don't have it otherwise. So we'll do what we need to do to make sure that business stays in business, but we don't make any money from it. Doc and I have owned that since 2015 and we don't get a paycheck.
So that's
we do not get paid from the school. So most of our time is spent
at Fantasy Fest
for that, right? So, but we don't get a paycheck from that school.
Yeah.
It operates for them. So that's some of the sacrifices that you make.
Yeah.
Luckily, we both have our own jobs too, and we have the college, so we can do that. But if that was my primary job, it just
be hard to do.
It couldn't be. So you do have to make those decisions, and sometimes make money as a company, but you also employ instructors that are going out there. They're providing a service. They're making money. They're making extra money.
Yeah.
They're feeding their families. So that's good too. So
absolutely.
Just because the business doesn't make money, we are still providing a service, and we have employees making money, which they need. And then we hope they have the same sacrifice when we get those that say, hey, we may need to be bare bones.
Yeah.
We're going to have to pay you a little less on this one. And they'll go, okay, I'm in. That's okay.
Yeah.
Because they know the others will benefit. And that's going to show the loyalty and dedication as well. Yeah.
And I only bring this up for one point. So here you are running a school in a place that has very little.
Right.
Little hospitals for clinicals and stuff, the repetition and all the stuff. And yet you still manage to meet the accreditation needs.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yes. Right? If you make it happen, and you make it happen legitimately, and you go through the hard work of collecting the data, doing all the stuff you do.
Absolutely.
And all these fucking other people that can't manage to get their act together to do it.
That's funny because we do show that. And we said, listen, we do 1.5 paramedic classes a year. That's what
So
we do
how
in the
many
Keys. Now,
hospitals-
Braxton obviously is much bigger,
Yeah.
but the Keys School is an independent company. It is a different school.
Yep.
We are in a fire station. So we have a lease agreement with Marathon Fire Rescue. They had a big area where it was a classroom. They said, listen, you can set up shop here. And we have a deal. We train them for a low or no cost. So it works out for both people, for both parties. But yeah, we
still
it's a
fucking
school.
do it like
it's
you're
a
supposed
college.
to.
It's a school. It's accredited. It just got renewed for another 6 years of accreditation.
Nice.
So
That's awesome.
they're very proud of that too. You know, it's the only accredited school down there.
How many hospitals are in there?
3. So Mariners
one in Marathon,
and
one in Key
Fisherman's, which are owned by Baptist,
Uh-huh.
and then Lower Keys in Key West. So you have one at 0 basically in Key West, one in mile marker 50 or so in Marathon,
Mhm.
and then up around 90 or so in Tavernier.
Oh,
That's it.
So
I
you
have
know,
a few friends that work in Marathon.
the biggest thing is that I tried, you know, because sometimes a lot of times, you know, you're just a name on an email that people are seeing on these on these fancy things, you know, that come
Okay.
out, you know, and they're like, and they go, man, who is this guy? And I go, I'll tell you who this guy is and why he is as passionate as he is about it. Because you make it fucking happen and you can fucking do it.
Well, you can definitely make it happen, and you
Yeah.
could definitely do it. It takes a lot of hard work.
Yeah.
Everybody can do it. Every school out there, I think, has the right intentions.
Yeah.
They want to take care of students. They want to educate them the right way. But if you, in today's world, you also have to hold academic standard.
Yes,
You have to
absolutely.
raise the bar. You have to want to be accredited. And if you think just checking boxes or creating policies so you can get accreditation doesn't make your program
It's
better.
not that easy.
Right.
No.
So if they exist,
she
the
knows.
standards exist for a reason. So if you really analyze them and look at them and go, yeah, this is going to be a pain in the ass, but it's going to
Yeah.
make us better.
Yeah.
It's going to make the outcomes better. It's going to make our program better and embrace it. I think a lot of schools spend more time trying to circumvent the rules than just comply with them.
Yeah,
just do what you're
absolutely.
supposed to do. Half the
Yes.
time it doesn't cost more money to do it right.
Yeah.
It takes your time for sure, but then don't be in the business.
And I'm gonna tell you, man,
You know?
like, you know, we speak a lot about Jason, first response training group.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you know, here's the thing with Jason, like Jason, his mom, his sister, they all lived in like a 2-bedroom apartment to get this school started that
Yeah.
he's now got accredited.
Right.
And you know, like he don't cut anybody any slack on any shit. He does it like you're supposed to.
Right.
Because it's his ass. It's
Yeah.
like it's all he has.
Yep.
And when I'm like, man, you cannot blame the dude for doing it. And you know, it's like, man, he does it like
And
you're
he does
supposed
it
to.
right. And you know what? And he's putting his heart and soul in it.
Yeah.
That's for sure.
Like you
And-
guys have.
Yeah. But that's what it takes.
And he
You have to roll up your
gets
sleeves.
results because of
does.
it.
Yeah.
He does. And you got to roll up your sleeve. And it doesn't matter if it's a school, if it's a fire department, you're the chief, or
Yeah.
an ambulance company, whatever it is. You got to
Yeah.
roll up the sleeves and you got to work. There is no time.
Yeah.
It's not a 40-hour work week.
Yeah.
You know, the phone doesn't stop ringing. And if it does, and you want to be that person to turn that off, then you won't have a successful business.
Nah, man.
You know, or
Right.
it will start to decline without you being aware that it's declining until it's
Yeah.
over.
Yeah.
You know, so you do, and that doesn't mean you need to micromanage, but you
Nah.
need to know every level of your business from top to bottom, what people do,
Yes, sir.
appreciate those that are doing the job.
Mhm.
You know, so they stay dedicated and they're in the same vision as you. And you know, our organizations are relatively small. You know, even Braxton College is for the most part a smaller school, but you also have, you know, tons of online instructors that we don't see
Yeah.
until they're teaching, you know, so that's a whole nother level of supervision. They don't
Pretty
just
cool.
swing by the office where you're like, hey, how's class going?
Yeah.
You got to go online
And you got to watch
and you
them.
got to go on and see if they're interacting with students
That's pretty cool.
constantly. So that's a lot of my nighttime where I'm logging into classes, not to worry about what they're doing.
But just to
Is
see.
it our product, right? Is
Yeah.
it the product that we want to put out? And if not, we correct them. Because I think they all have the best intentions. Nobody's trying to cut.
But it's your brand.
holes. Right. Yeah.
It's your
It's our
brand.
name at the end. It's Doc's name
Yeah.
on these at the end. So,
Yeah.
you know, we need to make sure that that's what we're trying to do. And, you know, we're definitely not perfect. There's a lot of things that we're learning, and we're going to another accreditation conference at the end of January, and we don't have to. We're renewed for another 6 years.
You just got to.
But the standards change. And sometimes just like these conferences that we're here now, you go and you talk to the committees and, you know, the chairs of those committees, the accrediting bodies, and you start to learn why they do things. And it really helps. When we have an issue, we can call them direct and say, hey, I have a question.
Yeah.
Can I do this? Or can, you know,
Yeah.
is this a way I can do it? And they go, yeah, you know, you guys are doing it right. And when they come, their site visits are easier because we just we know what they want.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And there's always things, they're always going to find something.
Yep.
And
That's their
fine.
job.
Then you correct it. And if you go in with that open mind, going, oh, you know what? Didn't know. How can I fix it?
Yeah.
Instead of going, I don't think
That's
you're
it.
right.
Yeah,
That's
you
not
can't
going
do
to
that.
go anywhere,
Yeah.
right? So I think that's where people just need to. Everyone's just doing their job. They're not trying to close you down. Accrediting
No,
bodies
man,
actually
they're
make
just-
money.
Yeah.
The more schools they accredit,
Yeah. So
their goal is to get you
Keep 'em
accredited.
open.
You got to do your
Yeah.
part, though, for sure. Follow
I-
the rules.
yes.
Basically.
Oh
that's
man, what you say,
it.
baby? What you got? You gotta leave here. You don't kick us out.
Oh, listen,
I think you're beautiful.
I love you.
Yeah.
Don't be an asshole, and
Words to live by.
Yeah.
and be a patient advocate.
All right. Man, Josh, I had a lot of shit prep for you today, but
No. But
We got Bill
this is
McGrath
better.
here.
We got him on the
Yeah,
show. We can
yeah.
talk about that
Yeah.
shit next
yeah,
week.
but I want you to prepare about Q. I got a lot of questions
Q?
about that.
Who's Q?
Oh, he knows what Q.
Q?
is. Q is.
Q.
All right.
I don't know
Yeah.
what Q is.
Yeah, Josh knows. You got anything for anybody?
No.
Let's get it
If
happy.
you don't like me, go fuck yourself. That's all I got.
Yeah, there's a lot of
Yeah,
people
go
out
fuck
there that
yourself.
would.
Oh,
work
oh,
themselves
is that
right now.
how we're handling that?
Yeah.
Is that how we're doing that?
Yeah. Listen, man, I'm glad you're back.
No,
Back,
it's
back.
good to be
Yeah,
back.
it's good.
Yeah, it's
people
good to
love
see you today.
people
Yeah.
love to see you today.
It
Like
was good seeing you.
there was a dude that chased Josh down. One of the hot things. Yeah, Josh.
Who was it?
It's some dude. I don't even know who he
Jason?
is. Yeah, but but it was people could be happy to see you back.
Yeah, no, that's great. No, I like it. This is a better reception. Makes me want to come back.
Yeah, buddy, what you got?
I don't got a lot. I got a headache.
Yeah.
I still have
Well, that's what you got.
Better go get that checked out.
I'm trying. They want me to go get an MRI, and I'm really scared.
If something happened to you, I don't know what my schedule is.
I know
Like,
you'd
don't
be
even know where to-
completely lost.
I don't even know where to fucking go.
He almost planned a competition in a
Oh,
couple
man,
weeks.
I was
He
going.
was already dead.
I know.
Yeah, I
He
was
committed.
going.
No. And I
No.
don't, that was like the one time in the past 3 months he was willing to schedule something without asking my permission
Right.
and
It's
see
Bill
where it got
McGrath.
him.
Yeah.
Bill McGrath asked me.
Well, sometimes he's going to get told no.
Yeah,
also.
Yeah,
well,
I do. I've been married for almost
Yeah.
30 years. I
Right.
get told no.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, you can go, but we're not going to not go again.
I'm still going to be in Jamaica.
I know.
Back in church up. Don't be an asshole. Everybody get along.
That's
Glad
what I'm
Josh
saying.
is back,
Oh,
even though he
thank
doesn't
you,
think
Emily.
I'm glad he's back. I am.
Even
Yeah.
though what?
He doesn't think I'm glad he's back.
No, I know.
Right.
I love Amanda.
Yeah, that's
Jason,
it.
what you got, man?
I don't know.
You know,
I don't even know what-
a lot of times you think that your job is thankless, but let me tell you something. Jason went and he arranged wires at my office
Yeah.
today,
Oh man, you
You know.
should have seen the.
and and listen, and he put a video, a thing together, within minutes,
Yeah, he did.
and put all this stuff together, and Jason don't.
Fantastic.
This is pretty impressive.
Jason don't like coming here to podcast. He would rather podcast in the quietness of other places than we do
Anywhere.
it.
Yeah,
Why-
Yeah,
anywhere.
I was
yeah.
figuring how you're going to pull this off.
And he
though.
only
Yeah.
does it because I like
He's
coming
told
here.
to.
And
Oh yeah,
but
that too.
but you do an amazing job, and I
You
do.
do, Jason, and
we-
we appreciate
We
you.
I could not fucking do this without you, man. That's for sure, bro.
I
Yeah.
So
appreciate it.
you're very
There are too
appreciated.
many wires all over the
And
table.
Yeah.
I do love that you're growing your hair out.
Thank you.
And,
You're
Ugh.
welcome.
and-
I love it.
I do
Yeah.
love it.
yeah, man, people were upset
I
that he
can't
cut his
wait
hair
for
in
it to
class.
be
I'm
like-
telling you. So, anyways,
So long.
that,
Emily Kinsman says she's loves having Josh back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, thanks, Emily.
yeah, hey, I don't even know who Emily is, but
I
she's
don't
probably
know.
good people.
Hey.
I think she was one of my students.
Yeah.
Yeah.
At some point.
Yeah.
The biggest thing, definitely leaving today, going to the conference and seeing all these things, all the differences of opinions that are out there, is that we should respect everybody's opinion has a place in a
Absolutely.
situation where that thing works. And, and it's you got to respect that and just being patient with people.
That's
We're
what being an
not,
adult is all about.
oh my
right?
God.
Yeah, right?
I don't
Oh
wanna
my
be-
God. We are,
I don't want to be an adult.
the
anymore.
world has forgotten about the other person. And
Yeah.
it's all about how they feel and how they
Instant
think
gratification.
and how they think you should feel about being that. You know what I mean?
Yeah, we can't be friends if we don't have that same opinion, apparently.
We
Yeah.
have people that tell, like, black people how to feel. Like, they're not black. How do you know how to feel? How do you know how a Spanish person should feel? And it got all these
You speak great
Spanish for a black guy. Yeah, I heard that the other day. Listen, the reality is that be respectful, man, and be aware of your surroundings and be aware of what's going on. Take care of the fucking person next to you.
Yep.
That's the reality of it. And like, don't cheat. Follow the rules. Karma is one of those things that are going to get you.
Yeah.
Don't motivate me to read the back and forth and like who published the fucking book to kick your ass, because that's what you motivate me to do sometimes.
Yeah.
So
yeah.
hey man, I know you guys had a lot of damage to your school,
We
and
did.
you guys are right in the eye of the storm.
Yeah,
And
unfortunately.
hope thoughts and prayers and whatever we can do to get that back.
We
man.
appreciate that very much.
And the partnership and all the help you guys have done for us as the Rescue Company One, Braxton
Please.
College.
Please,
Man,
you guys are top notch.
yeah,
I mean,
that's
you
awesome.
guys are fantastic.
I love being the Yankees of competition team. So we're winners.
Coming up. You got
Yeah.
another-
Yeah. So
I, yeah.
into baby, I'm sorry. I love and
See ya.